We'll start with Jim standing to your right.
First of all, Skipper Jim Hill, KKL 9 News. What is your level of anxiety and or anxiousness as you're so close but still so far away?
Definitely not anxiety. I think, excited to get the game going. Guys have a good look, great preparation, and I like where we're at. So excited to get going.
We'll stay there on the corner.
Hey, Dave, Crystal Rich. I believe it was the NLCS that you said you believe in this group of guys more so than any one that you've managed before. With that feeling and these two-story franchises going head-to-head, having that 3-0 lead, what would it mean today to sweep?
It would be historic for our franchise to win another World Series. Certainly against a great organization as the Yankees. Just excited for our players, our fans. But it's like I said, I believe in this group. I love this group, and we've got to keep playing good baseball.
And then just some minor change to the bottom half of the lineup with Kike moving up. What was the thought process there?
I just feel that I like Kike against Heel. He's obviously taken really good at bats, and so just kind of flip-flopping those two, I felt good about it.
Up front on your left, Dave, Kirsten.
With Ben Kasparius, I know you've talked just a lot about him and not knowing too much early in the year, and obviously the impact he has made since being called up. But for him to be in a position in the World Series starting this game, what have you learned about him in the postseason and how he's just handled this stage?
I think Ben's handled it really well. He's a good kid. He's a good competitor, raised well, Connecticut kid. I just think that the guys have done a great job of embracing him and making him feel accepted. And so I like the variance play as far as those guys don't know much about him. He's got good stuff, and I just think he's going to perform well. He's not going to get too overwhelmed. It's a great opportunity, something he'll remember forever. But I've sort of left him alone because I don't need to add to his, as Jim asked, anxiety. He might have a little anxiety. But, yeah.
We'll stay right there.
Hi, Dave. 27 outs from winning a world title. Your guys' mantra all season long has been just the next game. Has it been difficult, though, to preach just the next game when the 27 outs are the whole thing?
Well, it's this game is what I preach. And so that's still in line with our mantra, our messaging. And no one's thinking about potential tomorrow. We're thinking about tonight's game and getting, as you said, 27 outs. So I feel good about the focus, and we're focused on playing good baseball. I mean, like I said last night, there's some things that we need to do better and clean up, and I think that they'll be cleaned up tonight.
Up front to your right.
Dave, I know you save speeches or messages for certain moments. Did you feel the need to send one to the team today?
No, I didn't. I left those guys. They're doing just fine by themselves right now.
Good. Tyler in the second row.
Dave, how have you seen the Dodgers evolve since you've been here? I mean, they've always been good, but how have things changed? I remember years when there was a lot of platoons, and now it's more maybe superstars. But how have you seen things change philosophically in your years here?
Yeah, well, I think that I was at the beginning part of Andrew's tenure, right? He was there a year or two before me. So I think that it's obviously his influence, his impact on the data, a big kind of support group on R&D. So that's one part of it. I think that early on you have young players not making money. The platoon made sense. Now you've got a guy like Teoscar Hernandez that plays every day. I just think collectively, I think we all ultimately felt that, to win 11 games in October, having more guys that can be in the lineup consistently gives you a better chance versus, in a vacuum of platoon. But I will say in 2020, I think we had 3 platoons and it worked out pretty well for us. yeah, we've just, so it's kind of evolved, and it's never, you never nail it, but I think every year is different. But, you know, it also helps when you got three of the best players on the planet on your team too.
We'll stay there with Pete.
Dave, how many times have you tried to figure out how to unlock playoff Kike during the regular season? And
Yeah, I've tried and failed many times over. So, yeah, I'm just resolved to playoff Kike. But you know what? He works hard. He's a good teammate. Yeah, I mean, I just think that there's more in there in the regular season, but there's just not many that perform like he does in the postseason.
is it just the atmosphere? What's at stake? Is that what gets him going?
I think all of it like that. I think Walker spoke to it too. You know, he just gets up for the postseason, where that's just how some guys are wired. But that's better than running from it, you know.
We got Bradford in the fourth row on your left.
Dave, with so much focus on the stars on your roster, understandably, when you look at how your team has been able to navigate through all of the injuries to get to the point you are now, how much of that is a testament to the way the organization always works the entire 40-man roster and not just focused on that top part?
It's that's what it is. I think that obviously we have a culture here at the big league level, but the scouting and player development, I just think is second to none. And you know, who would have thought that, you know, Ben Kaspiris or Landon Knack is going to be pitching in Game 4 of the World Series at Yankee Stadium. You know, you get a guy like Honeywell off waivers, and you know, some of these young players, and obviously the deadline acquisitions we made have been enormous with those three guys. And so tapping into the depth, you never foresee a season like we've gone through, but we still got guys that are upright and that are still talented, and we've taken a hit. So it's an organizational kind of thing. But, yeah, the front office, Andrew's brilliant.
Next row, Bob.
And Dave, looking back with this entire regular season, how much you think just playing in the National League West, with the National League West being so strong this year, has helped you guys through the postseason?
It's helped us a lot. I still believe Arizona, the Padres are two of the better teams in all of baseball, and we got to see a lot of them. And having to go through the Padres in that DS was just kind of a grind. And so I certainly felt it prepared us for the rest of this postseason. Absolutely.
We'll stay back there with Sam. Next to you, Bob.
Hi, Dave. How's Ohtani doing? Have you checked in him?
I haven't seen Shohei, so I'm assuming he's fine. Yeah.
Go to Anthony.
No news is good news.
Go to Anthony, third row on your right.
You guys obviously have a very star-oriented lineup, and star-oriented lineups tend to be power-oriented lineups. How hard, difficult, special is it to have a lineup that has so much power, but also, you know, can go first to third, catch the ball, you know, just fundamentally sound?
It's everything. I think that that's the kind of the separator, I think, with our ball players. I talk a lot about talent and also intelligence. And I say intelligence because you still have to value swinging at strikes and taking balls, and the value of taking a walk if given to you. And so our guys can slug, but they can do that. And, you know, Freddie on one leg to be able to go first to third to create a situational opportunity. Teo to then get better at his defense and value defense, and he can even argue more than his hitting right now. And so those things are huge. Mookie gets down 2 strikes yesterday and finds a way to fist a ball or cue a ball to right field, and Tommy gets a great break on the ball to score without a throw. So those things, I think, are separated for our ball club. Yeah.
Go to Jack right behind you, Anthony.
Hey, Dave, just, you know, by virtue of winning the first 3 games, you've obviously had to use your bullpen going into this bullpen game a little more than the last couple rounds. Like, does that mean, like, with Ben and maybe Landon, you might need a little more length out of them in this one than
Absolutely.
some of the past?
Absolutely. You know, everyone's available tonight, but it's kind of be up to me depending on the game score, you know, where they're at with their starting pitcher, where they're at with their pen, when I decide to deploy other guys. So, because every guy I use will be with the cost going forward, so I better make certain that it's in the right spot. So, to your question, Jack, yeah, we're going to need some length out of those 2 guys. And what that means, I'm not sure what that means exactly, so we're going to all watch together.
And then was Trinan okay last night? Were you just kind of staying away from him?
Staying away from him. He wasn't down. No one's going to be down in the World Series. But I was clearly staying away from him. But if we didn't get Glaber right there, he was going to get Soto.
Go to Juan, then Fabian.
The great Jack Harris asked my question already.
Somewhat great minds think alike.
Dave, as you guys were kind of going around the trade deadline and sort of talking through ideas, like when did sort of the magnitude of getting Tommy and getting Kopech in the same trade and also getting Flaherty sort of come up, and obviously how impactful has having them been for you guys this October?
It's been obviously hugely impactful. Given where we were at with starting pitching, it was a priority. And so Jack is a local guy. We knew a lot about the makeup. And so we just felt that we're all grateful that it kind of came to pass. Tommy is somebody that I think that we've coveted for years, and just kind of being that guy that can kind of do anything, the versatile player, the bat to ball, the heady player, was certainly something that we're very excited that could happen. And then speaking about the pen, just having a neutral guy with power, he's just different than what we have, was something that we just felt that, if we could acquire a guy like Kopech, we just felt that there was some low-hanging fruit that in our environment that we could get him to be even better. And so everything's been to the 100th percentile, and that's all the front office. And I just, I don't know where we'd be without those guys, because those three guys are huge. You
guys have had quiet deadlines. You guys have had like where you get the Yu Darvishes of the world at the deadline. Is this supposed like cohesive group that you guys have been able to add impactful wise in terms of October and what they were all each individually able to bring?
Yes, yeah, and I think that I appreciate being in the clubhouse as far as you're not doing something just to do something and discounting what we have as far as the culture. Everything that we did at the deadline made sense. It really made sense. And so I think that with that, the players responded the way they should have and accepted all three of those players.
Second row on your left, Dave.
Before I ask my question, I don't know if you heard, but UCLA is getting its ballpark back.
Oh,
for
wow.
the next year, yeah.
That's
great. The judge approved it through July 4th of 25, so they can play there this year.
Thanks for sharing, Jim. That's great news. Good for the kids. That's great.
If you had to boil down your philosophy on dealing with players and running a clubhouse and what have you, I mean, how does that work? How do you handle that?
Oh gosh, Jim. I think it's individual based. I think that I just try to be sensitive to kind of where they're at in the moment. Personally, trying to get the best out of them, right? I communicate with each guy differently. And so there's a lot of conversations, but I think the ultimate goal has got to be about our ball club. And so I just try to make it about them, not about me and about the Dodgers. But yeah, we have a lot of hard conversations, fun conversations. That's probably the crux.
Do those conversations change at all at this time of year when you get to the postseason?
Yeah, they do, because I feel some players are in a good place. Some players I think I need more out of. Some people are starting to feel a little bit of the anxiety. And so some people might need a little bit of reassurance, encouragement. So, yeah, I think so, yeah.
Go far back on your right, Dave.
Dave, I'll piggyback off of that tiny bit. Back here in this series in June at Yankee Stadium, Aaron Judge absolutely torched you guys, even though you did win that series. He hasn't looked like the same guy in this series or even in the postseason. Why do you think that is? Is it simple as the way you guys are attacking him?
I'm not sure, Michael. He's a great player. We're making some good pitches, and, hope he takes another offer. But he's a great player. I have so much respect for Aaron, and there's probably a little bit of maybe trying too hard right now.
Abby on your right, Dave.
What has Freddie Freeman brought to the clubhouse culture in his few years with you guys?
He's brought the desire, he's got gratitude, the desire to play every day, to know that this is a job and your job is to play, and you've got to maximize your value, and that's by playing. He's tough. He's about the team. Yeah, he's if I had one player, I think everyone, I've said it before, it's like if you all encompassing, he's my favorite player to be around as far as what he does for the culture, the organization, the team.
Just what is it about the Dodgers culture that allows some of these superstars to integrate? It's not, there's some locker rooms where having 3, 4, 5 superstars like that might not work, but it seems to work for you guys, and it has worked for you guys in the past. What is it about the Dodgers culture?
It's about getting the right players, the right people. Talent is a lot, but it's not everything. You got to still kind of be cohesive, and so I just think that we do a really good job of getting the right players in our clubhouse.
And we'll finish with Barry up front.
Just an extension on the Freddie to add Mookie to this.
Yep,
you
Mookie's
guys
on my Mount Rushmore as well.
I'm sure. I mean, it would seem to me that the acquisition of those guys and the fact that one was a trade and sign, the other was a sign, had more impact on not only your team but on Major League Baseball in general than anything else. I mean, both Boston and Atlanta really haven't been the same teams since they didn't re-sign those players. So basically, it's all shifted to you. What's your thinking about the impact those guys have had on everything you've done?
Yeah, well, I think that you don't commit to players like that if you don't feel that they can make people around them better, make the organization better for the future, for the present and the future. And so that was the bet with both those players, and we certainly have been the beneficiaries. And, the impact that Freddie has had on our young players in the system and guys that watch him every day, what Mookie's had on our guys, and a guy that can go from right field to second base to right field to shortstop to back to right field, all that stuff matters. And so that's sort of the commitment, the bet when you commit to guys for a long time.
And then when you look at upper management here and what Guggenheim and Mark and those people do for this, I mean, you're not talking about teams like Boston and Atlanta that couldn't have afforded to keep those players. What is it about your organization that keeps adding these guys to try and make this team better?
Well, Mark is very competitive. I know Andrew is very competitive. Us on the field are very competitive. So I think that, with that, they're going to do everything they can to give us the best ball club we can to win a championship every year. And, in my 9 years, they've done that.
Dave, thanks so much. We'll see you
All right,
later.
thanks, guys.
Appreciate
Yep.
it.